no sound. Hello and welcome to This Date in History, also known as TDH. This show is all about the events that occurred to date in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things that we personally find intriguing enough for us to bring to you. The sources of this information comes from the smart device application Today in History. What happened today in history?
Historical calendar.
You're a little muffled there.
I
Can you repeat that?
Historical calendar.
That's better. And the website onthisday.com. For links to those sources, the music, and anything else we gather throughout the show, check the description. Anyway, I am Xander.
I am me.
And today is Woden's Day, also known as Odin's Day, also known as Wednesday, April 20th, 2022. 420. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. So, what happened today in history, Mr. Sohen Lunk, Dr. Santa Cruz, DDS, dental person guy?
1303, the State Pariza University of Rome is instituted by a bull of Pope Boniface. Boniface.
Boniface. Yeah. He has the face of a Bonnie or the Bonnie of a face. I have no idea.
Or a Boney.
A Zamboni. You're about to get run over by a Zamboni. Moving up into 1453, 3 Genoese galleys and a Byzantine blockade runner fought their way through an Ottoman blockading fleet a few weeks before the fall of Constantinople. Interesting.
Yep. Let's see.
1496.
Also, 1496, after his return from the New World, Christopher Columbus entered the court of his sponsor, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, for more than an hour. The sovereign besieged the seamen with questions.
Dang. Yeah. I'd expect it to be a longer talk. Only an hour? Like, the guy discovered a whole new section of the planet. Moving on up into 1534, Jacques Cartier began his first voyage to what is today the east of Canada, Newfoundland, and Labrador. So, he sailed to a dog? That's interesting.
Yes, he did. Also, 1535, the sun-dog phenomenon is observed under Stockholm, as later depicted as the famous painting von der Solvellen.
I have got to see this. Hold on a second. Van der Solvaten. Images. Oh, wow. That's interesting. That must have been a sight to see. Jeez. In 1653, Oliver Cromwell dissolved the Rump Parliament. Rump Parliament. And then 4 years later, in 1657, freedom of religion was granted to the Jews of New Amsterdam, which was later renamed to New York City.
1657, Admiral Robert Blake destroyed a Spanish silver fleet under heavy fire at the Battle of Santa Cruz de Tenerife.
Oh, wow. You're named after a battle? Santa Cruz? Dr. Lumpy Santa Cruz?
I am a doctor, after all.
Why don't you take this next one here?
Sure. Also, 1689, the deposed monarch James II of England laid siege to Derry.
I wonder if it's the same dairy that Pennywise once stalked. It's Pennsylvania, right?
Derry is in Maine.
Oh, okay.
That show. Yeah, in that show.
Moving on up into 1752, the start of the Konbang-Hathaway War, a new phase in the Burmese Civil War. So one fed into the other, it seems. So yeah, it lasted from 1740 until 1757. 17-year-long war. That's a long war.
Yes. Also, 1770, the Georgian king Ercole II, abandoned by his Russian ally Count Tolobin, wins a victory over Ottoman forces at Asprindaza.
5 years after that, in 1775, during the American Revolution, the siege of Boston began following the battles at Lexington and Concord. Oh yeah.
Also, 1789, George Washington arrives at Gray's Ferry, Philadelphia, while en route to Manhattan for his inauguration.
There's another George Washington fact for you, Mr. Jin, if you're watching, or Jalal, whatever name that you want to be called. I was in AQ3D yesterday, and one of the mods was like, "Hey, tell me a random funny fact about George Washington." And then so I mentioned that he had wooden teeth. He's like, "Oh, I already knew that. Boring. That doesn't count." Like, okay, he also had slaves. He grew hemp. You know, what else did I say? Oh yeah, I talked about the monument and everything. Anyway, moving on up into 1792, France declared war against the King of Hungary and Bohemia, the beginning of the French Revolutionary Wars. Oh wow. So, are you there?
Yeah.
Why don't you take these next two here?
1800, the Epensar Republic is established. In 1809, two Austrian army corps in Bavaria are defeated by the First French Empire Army, led by Napoleon at the Battle of Asberg, on the second day of a 4-day campaign that ended in a French victory.
Yeah, I was seeing, actually just last night, I saw a meme saying that everybody likes to make fun of France for surrendering during World War I and II, but when you look at, like, the history of warfare, France has the most victories versus any other country than any other country, you know, as far as, like, you know, being involved in wars. So, you know, I guess they're the extremes of both sides of the coin. Anyway, moving on up in 1818, the case of Ashford versus Thornton ended with Abraham Thornton allowed to go free rather than face a retrial for murder after his demand for trial by battle was upheld. Trial by battle. Well, let me look at that up, because it sounds familiar. If it is what I think it is, then it's interesting. Well, trial by combat was a method of Germanic law to settle accusations in the absence of witnesses or a confession in which two parties in dispute fought in single combat. The winner of the fight was proclaimed to be right. In essence, it was a judicially sanctioned duel. All right, that was not what I was thinking of. Like trial by battle would be like something like take it up into a more extreme court or something. I don't know, but that's still interesting. Fight for your rights, literally. What happened in 1828?
1838.
28.
Oh, 1828. Rene Khalil becomes the second non-Muslim to enter and the first to return from Timbuktu following Major Gordon Lane.
Okay. Interesting. Let's see here. That is 6 years later, in 1836, the U.S. Congress passed an act creating Wisconsin Territory. Cool. More expansion.
1861, American Civil War. Robert E. Lee resigns his commission to the United States Army in order to command the forces of the state of Virginia.
Bad move, Mr. Lee. Also in 1861, Thaddeus S.D. Lowe, attempting to display the value of balloons, made a record journey flying 900 miles from Cincinnati to South Carolina. Oh, that's a way to do it.
Also in 1862, Louis Pasteur and Claude Bernard complete the experiment disproving the theory of spontaneous generation?
I'm going to look that up here. Theory of spontaneous generation. I know it, but I don't think that everybody really knows about this. Spontaneous generation is a body of thought on the ordinary formation of living organisms without descent from similar organisms. The theory of spontaneous generation held that living creatures could arise from non-living matter and that such processes were commonplace and regular. So essentially, like, if you ever played, like, The Sims, and if you don't clean something up randomly, like roaches appear, that's spontaneous generation. Just because something's there, like magically something will appear. But nope, that's not how the real world works. Moving on up into 1865, astronomer Angelo Secchi demonstrated the Secchi disk, which measured water clarity aboard Pope Pius the Ninth's yacht, the Immaculata Conception. Let me look up the Secchi disk here, real quick. Secchi disk. It is a circular disc 30 centimeters in diameter used to measure water transparency or turbidity in bodies of water. The disc is mounted on a pole or line and lowered slowly down into the water. Alright. Well, that's interesting. What happened in 1876, Mr. Dr. Lunk?
1876, the April Uprising begins. Its suppression shocks European opinion, and Bulgarian independence becomes a condition for ending the Russo-Turkish War.
Yep. See? The powers that be never figure it out. Stop pushing the people, because they push back and we, the people, are stronger. There's more of us. Why don't you take this next article here?
1884, Pope Leo XIII publishes the encyclical Summer Guinness condemning Freemasonry.
I wonder if that's still a thing. If the Vatican condemns the Freemasons, then again, they're all part of like the same order now. In 1898, U.S. President William McKinley signed a joint resolution to Congress for declaration of war against Spain, beginning the Spanish-American War. Yep. It's a war a lot of people don't realize we had.
1902, Pierre and Marie Curie refined radium chloride.
Dang. Radium chloride. That sounds like salty radiation. Radium chloride is a salt of radium and chlorine, and the first radium compound isolated in a pure state. Marie Curie and André Louis Devierne used it in their original separation of radium from barium. The first preparation of radium metal was by the electrolysis of a solution of this salt using a mercury cathode. Alright, more sciencey, gibbly stuff. But interesting nonetheless. Why don't you take these next two articles?
Sure. 1914, 19 men and women and children participating in a strike are killed at the Radium massacre during the Colorado Coalfield War.
No, that's not nice.
That's horrible. Also, 1922, the Soviet government creates South-Ossetian Autonomous Oblast within Georgian SSR.
Moving on up into 1945, during World War II, the U.S. troops captured Leipzig, Germany, only to later cede the city to the Soviet Union. That's not good. We gave ground. We showed weakness.
Also, 1945, World War II, U.S. troops captured Leipzig, Germany. Oh no, we already did that. Also 1945, 20 Jewish children used in medical experiments at Nuremberg are killed in the basement of the Bodenhausen Dam School. That's horrible.
Damn. Pun not intended. That's just awful. Like, I have no words. But also in 1945, and also during this World War II, the Fuhrer bunker, on his 56th birthday, Adolf Hitler made his last trip to the surface to award Iron Crosses to the boy soldiers of the Hitler Youth. Scraping the barrel, you know.
Also, 1946, the League of Nations officially dissolved, giving most of its power to the United Nations.
Yep, start of the NWO, New World Order. I mean, they straight up talked about it in the speeches. Like Winston Churchill's "We Shall Fight on the Beaches" speech talks about a new world order. So, moving on up into 1961, during the Cold War, a failure of the Bay of Pigs invasion of U.S.-backed Cuban exiles against Cuba happened. So yeah, not good. Yeah, you know. Why don't you take both 1968s here?
Also, in 1968, English politician Enoch Powell makes his controversial Rivers of Blood speech.
Rivers of Blood speech. Interesting.
Also, in 1968, 123 people were killed when South African Airways Flight 228 crashes near the Hosea Kutako International Airport in Southwest Africa, now Namibia.
That's awful. 123 people. You know, like people, like it's hard to keep in focus that these are all lives. Like yours, like mine. Like everybody else's. 123 of that gone. It's awful. You start getting up into the big numbers, and the humanity starts getting drained. It turns into a statistic, and we gotta. It's difficult, but we gotta focus on not turning numbers into a statistic. I don't know. Anyway, moving on up into 1972, during the Apollo program, Apollo 16 lunar module, commanded by John Young and piloted by Charles Duke, landed on the moon. Nice.
Damn.
And then in 1998, Air France Flight 422 crashed after taking off from El Dorado International Airport in Bogota, Colombia, killing all 53 people aboard. Here we go again.
Damn. Also, in 1999, Columbine High School massacre, Eric Harrison, Dylan Kilbold, killed 13 people and injured 24 others before committing suicide at Columbine High School in Columbine, Colorado.
Jesus. And yet they didn't demolish that. They didn't tear down that school or the Virginia Tech school, but they tore down, Sandy Hook. I wonder why. Can't find evidence when it's buried and taken away with the rubble. False flag. Moving on up into 2007, the Johnson Space Shuttle shooting. Here we go again. William Phillips, with a handgun, barricaded himself at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas, before killing a male hostage and himself.
Yep, in 2010, the Deepwater Horizon drilling rig explodes in the Gulf of Mexico, killing 11 workers and beginning an oil spill that will last 6 months.
Jesus.
Forget the BP oil spill.
That was BP, right?
Yep.
Dang. Remember South Park? We're sorry. In 2012, oh God, how many people have to die today? 127 people were killed when a plane crashed in a residential area near the Benazir Bhutto International Airport near Islamabad, Pakistan. Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah.
We gotta start having like a daily death counter or something. I don't know. That requires editing.
Also, in 2015, 10 people were killed in a bomb attack on a convoy carrying food supplies to the United Nations compound in Garo in the Somali region of Puntland.
You were right initially, 2013, then you skipped over it. In 2013, a 6.6 magnitude earthquake struck Lushan County, Ya'an, in China's Sichuan province, causing the deaths of more than 150 people, and injuring thousands more.
Damn.
Yep. And
also, 2021, The state of Minnesota versus Derek Michael Chauvin. Derek Chauvin is found guilty of all charges in the murder of George Floyd by the 4th Judicial District Court of Minnesota.
Dude, speaking about that politically ridden dead horse, I saw, like, Dad was watching TV, like, the other day, and I saw there was a white guy with about 8 cops on him. They all had their knees on his back, on his neck, on his legs, and he's just like, I'm going willingly, like, I will go willingly, and they're just like, stop resisting, but, nothing happened from that because he's white. Meanwhile, you have one guy who knew George Floyd and was trying to, subdue him because he knew what this guy is capable of. And Floyd was saying, complaining about not being able to breathe when he was in his car, seatbelted, door closed. No hands on him. He was already having breathing problems. Not to mention the toxicology report, but hey, BLM, right? Anyway, before we get into births and deaths, any articles intrigue you today?
Columbine.
Yeah. Of course, the Chauvin, all the plane crashes and deaths. How many were there? 3, 4 plane crashes today?
Yes. Honestly, fuck Floyd and fuck Chauvin.
Why Chauvin? He didn't do anything wrong.
Fuck them both.
Okay, whatever. We landed on the moon again. The fail of Bay of Pigs invasion. Hitler's last trip to the surface. Once again, a lot of decent articles today. Why don't you start us off with verse today here?
In 1494, Johannes Agricola, German theologian and reformer.
1650, William Bedloe, English spy.
Also, 1727, Formod Claude Comet de Mercy Artios, Belgian, Austrian minister and diplomat.
1808, Napoleon III, French politician who is the first president of France.
1851, Sigmund Lieben, Polish-American businessman who founded the Lieben Manufacturing Company.
You missed another one here. 1850, Daniel Chester French, American sculptor who designed the Lincoln statue. And then 1889, do you want to play rock, paper, scissors for this?
You can have them.
I don't want them. Oh, I guess I'll take...
Alright, then we can play Russian roulette.
And follow in his footsteps? No way. Anyway, in 1889, we have Adolf Hitler, an Austrian-born German painter, political activist and leader, politician, and Führer of Nazi Germany.
Yeah. Also, oh my god, this can't be a real name. 1896, Wap May.
Yeah, I guess they're without papers. It's awful.
Yeah.
But what was they? What were they?
Wap May, Canadian captain and pilot. Oh my god, I cannot imagine this person being taken seriously as a fucking captain.
1908, Lionel Hampton was born on the States. He was a U.S. vibraphone player, pianist, band leader, and actor.
Fucking phone died.
Oh no. Did you not charge it? Okay. Well, while you're figuring that problem out, I'm going to continue on. In 1923, Mother Angelica, a U.S. nun and broadcaster who founded Eternal World Television Network. What?
It's one thing.
What? One thing?
Edison didn't die at the beginning of the show.
That's true. Yeah, that would have been a lot worse.
It would have been all shit.
Um,
And,
so, like, what's your status? Are you plugging it in? Are you able to salvage it?
I'm gonna plug it in.
Okay,
Meanwhile,
okay.
this.
Well, I will continue on. 1927, we have Bud Cullen, a Canadian judge and politician who is the first Canadian Minister of Employment and Immigration.
Smith. Clinton.
1927 as well, we have Phil Hill, a U.S. race car driver. What a name, Phil Hill. Also in 1927, we have K. Alex Muller, a Swiss physicist and academic. And I'm going to look up his actual name. K. Alex Muller. Carl. Okay. So K-A-R-L. Carl. 1937. You know this guy. You know Mr. Oh My?
Oh, George K.
Yeah.
Oh my.
A U.S. actor. He played, what was it, Sulu, right? In Star Trek?
Yes, Zulu. That's
Yep.
Zulu.
Yep.
Lieutenant Zulu.
Lieutenant Zulu. 1946, we have Julien Pauline, a Canadian actor, director, producer, and screenwriter. And then 1950, we have N. Chandrababu Naidu, an Indian politician who is the 13th Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. And I'm going to look up their full name. Nara, okay. So, out of her old name, they decided to shorten the shortest one already. Why not Nara C. Naidu? You know? I guess that makes too much sense. Moving on up into 1956, Beatrice Ask was born on this date. She is a Swedish politician who was a Swedish Minister of Justice. And if you have to ask, you gotta have to ask. You know? Like Roger. 1966, David Filo, U.S. businessman who co-founded Yahoo! And
Oh God.
last but not least, 1972, Carmen Electra, a U.S. model and actress. How's your situation going with your phone?
Logan.
Okay. Moving on to the deaths. Starting us off in 689, we have Cadwalla, King of Wessex. And then doing a pretty significant time jump here. 1873, William Tite, an English architect who designed the Royal Exchange. I have to look that up real quick.
That sounds tight.
Yep. We shall see how tight it is. The Royal Exchange. Oh, that's pretty cool looking.
Yeah, it is tighter than a nun.
Huh. Dang. 1886, we have Charles Francois Frédéric Marquis de Montholon-Simonville, French general and diplomat who is a French ambassador to the United States. Then 1912, Bram Stoker, an Anglo-Irish novelist and critic who created Count Dracula.
Yep.
1969, we have Vjegoslav Luberic, a Croatian Ukasti official and concentration camp administrator.
And
then
1980, M. Karnaratam, Sri Lankan politician.
And if you want to give it a shot, let's see here. Copy. I'm going to post his first name in Michaelis here as soon as I find it. There we go. So if you want to try to say his full name.
Malarganum.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, since I'll get to it.
Why don't you finish up deaths here?
Yeah, I'll finish it up. In 1991, Don Fagan, U.S. director and producer. 1992, Benny Hill, English comedian, actor, and screenwriter. Yeah. In 1995, Milovan Dialis, Yugoslavian communist politician, theorist, and author. 2004, Lindsay Mercier is Chloe. French musician, singer, songwriter, composer, actress, writer, and painter.
It's a hell of a resume right there.
2012, Bert Weedham, English guitarist and songwriter. And 2018, Avicii, Swedish DJ and musician.
You know, I once took a pill in Ibiza to show Avicii I was cool. Anyway, that concludes the show. Once again, check the underbar for any links that you may be interested in, which also includes
Go Ahead TV on Twitch.
And everything OMNI Coalition. Go give it a look. Go give him a look. And pretty soon there's going to be Mr. Richards' contribution and everything. Yeah. Anyway, for all of you and all of us, we stream every day between 12 noon and 3 p.m. Pacific time.
2 to 5 Central.
And I am Xander.
I am me.
And you are you. And until you see us tomorrow, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles! Let's go, Brandon.